All right, so I'm originally from Canada, and I had a nice job, a work-from-home job that I liked, and I kind of quit and dropped everything to move to Japan. This was because I was still living at home, and I'm almost 30, and I realized Canada's not really the place to be a young adult. I think it's better if you're married and kids. I think Canada's not really a good place to be a young adult. It's better if you're like married and have kids and want like a nice, safe area with good schools and like a good suburban area. But it's very expensive, and you need a good job. You need both people to have a really good income just to be able to rent a place there. Don't even think about buying a house. So I left Canada and moved to Japan. And you probably clicked this video because you might want to do that too. So let me give you some quick pros and cons to dropping everything and moving to Japan. The first pro is, of course, everyone's going to tell you the food is amazing, it's cheap, it's affordable, there's no tipping culture. That part, I think you probably already know if you've watched anyone talk about Japan before. So let's just get that out of the way. The food's amazing and it's really affordable. I'm talking about if you're from America or Canada, they have there's a place in Kabukicho, the red light district, that sells shawarma for $2. You can get a dinner, like a full shawarma wrap, for $2 Canadian. And so even less American. So this was kind of crazy to me. But generally speaking, you're paying about $5 to $10 for a regular meal. If you're eating out, if you're cooking at home, maybe $2 or $3 for a dinner. A con is a lot of the businesses are stuck in the 2000s here. Specifically, one of the biggest troubles I've had is opening up a bank account here. I've had every single bank decline me. Everyone says JP Post is the bank to go to, but they declined me as well. So I need to go to the immigration and renew my visa 3 months early just so I can get a bank account. And so I tried that, and now the immigration's super slow. It's very they're still faxing things here. They're still using fax machines in government organizations. So it's very, very slow and bad to try and get any government things done. The next pro is that it is super safe here. So when you're comparing this to America, yeah, the American salary is much higher, but Japan is probably the safest country I can ever imagine. Even Canada, coming from the greater Toronto area, it can feel a little bit dangerous sometimes. You can feel a little bit uneasy in some areas. Canada's relatively safe, but if you're in the city center, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable around the homeless people or around some poor neighborhoods. But Japan really, the homeless problem is non-existent here. I've seen a few of them, but they're always friendly and nice. And you're never gonna get into a fight on the street or a disagreement with someone. Japanese people are very non-confrontational. So even if you did something wrong, they're probably not gonna tell you, which can be a pro and a con, I guess. But yeah, I've never felt any sense of danger or anything here. It's very safe. I'd say a con is housing. It's kind of hard to get housing here as a foreigner. Generally speaking, they want you to rent for a year or 2 years straight. You have to sign a contract to stay in this one spot for 1 or 2 years. You also need a letter of employment. So if you're coming here and looking for a job, it's not going to work. You have to get a job before you come here. Or you have to pay a year's salary in advance, or a year's rent in advance. So that's kind of not good, especially compared to Canada, where it's pretty easy. It's just first and last month in Canada. So I'd say a con here is housing. One of the ways to get around this is shared housing. The one I'm in now, this is called Oak House. I highly recommend it. It's affordable. You're living with a bunch of other foreigners. Everyone's very friendly. And there's Japanese people living there too that are interested in learning English. So it's very nice to talk to those people because they can teach you Japanese and you can learn English. Or they can teach you Japanese and you can teach them English. So it's a nice combination living in these share houses. Mine even has a onsen inside of it as well as a karaoke room. So it's super fun and affordable. It's about, in Canada, it'd be 600 Canadian dollars. Versus if I were to find a house like this in Toronto, I'd be paying triple that, even more than that. So this is definitely more affordable living in one of the biggest cities of the world. So that can be another pro, is that while Tokyo is a giant city, it's still affordable. Housing isn't too bad here. As long as you're not like in the city center, you can be 30 minutes outside and find affordable housing. Another pro, if you can hear it in the background here, is the nature. Japan's filled with nature. Even in Tokyo, the biggest city, you can still find parks with lots of bugs and animals. And this is a English is cicada. Cicadas are yelling. Now is the season. So that's kind of nice to be in this city and still be surrounded by nature. A con I want to talk about is a lot of the older people probably hate you. They might not say it to your face, or they might, but oftentimes you'll notice older generations don't feel comfortable with foreigners. On the train, they might move away from you. They might give you a weird look, might stare at you. The worst one I had, the absolute worst, was I traveled to Hiroshima, and I had an older Japanese man who spoke perfect English for some reason stop and tell me to leave Japan. I was waiting at a bus stop, he was waiting for a different bus, and he told me I should leave Japan. And that he said, look at Hiroshima, look at what you did to Hiroshima. Specifically, he's pointing at me, and I told him I'm not an American. And he said, it doesn't matter, you're white. You need to leave Japan, you need to leave Hiroshima. So yeah, I ended up like getting into an argument with this older man. So yeah, that's entirely possible, and it could happen to you if you're in Japan. They're really accepting of foreigners in Tokyo, and the younger generation really love to learn English and meet outsiders, but the older generation really don't care for you. Another obvious pro is the train system here. You don't need a car in Japan. Everything's super convenient. You can get anywhere you want to go just by the train, bus, or Shinkansen. Literally. It's so built for convenience here. So I would love to know what you think about coming to Japan after watching this video. Please leave a comment. Let me know if anything changed about your opinion of Japan. Are you still excited to come? Are you worried about something? Leave a comment. I would love to see it. And be sure to subscribe for future Japanese videos.